on when they go out into the real world if they have not practiced how to assert themselves and say those types of things appropriately if we haven't guided them with that. So we're about to take a break, but I really want to dive in a little bit more into this because on some level, Cortland, as parents, we have to feel confident in our parenting, don't we? Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, oh, did I mess that up myself? And even, even as when you're co-parenting, whether it's in a marriage or outside of a marriage, if you're co-parenting, you question each other to say, is this the right way to handle this? And I think let's dive in after the break about, this confidence and this self-esteem that we have to have as parents as well, because we want to be able to pass that on to our children. So thank you so much for tuning in for this first half of Village Talk. We'll be right back after the break. Remember, this is Village Talk, where we highlight the views and voices of the community.
Feature your business with a full or half-page ad in an upcoming issue of Vision and Purpose Lifestyle Magazine. Advertise your business, book, or event and reach potential clients. Vision and Purpose Lifestyle Magazine covers and features stories in business and entrepreneurship, education, performing arts, sports, community outreach, fashion, travel and real estate, health and wellness, and more. Contact us at info@vnpmagazine.com, or you can reach out to our Director of Sales, Ms. Karen McConnell-Jones, at 202-904-1000. Vision and Purpose, inspiring our community.
So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Shauna, we went into the break. You brought up something that is really dear to my heart. This is Village Talk, ladies and gentlemen, where we are highlighting the voices and views of the community. Parent Chronicles Part 2. And I have mentioned how there are some lighthearted moments as it relates to parenting. And obviously, all of the moments related to parenting are not lighthearted. So we just wanted to talk about our experiences and just share some things along the journey that have been meaningful to us. And you mentioned, Shauna, just how the parent feels sometimes, which is why the movie Parenthood stands out.
I'm gonna have to go watch that movie. You keep talking about that because I have never seen it. I have to watch it because you keep telling me about it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to go get that one. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, if there ever was a movie to me that addressed the subject of what you brought up before we went into break, I feel that movie does.
Okay, I'm going to have to go get that. But I'm just, I think back to the very, very beginning to when they put the baby in my arms and said, okay, Mr. and Mrs. King, you can take the baby home. And I was like, what? Well, wait, y'all coming with me?
Right.
Where's the direction sheet? Do you know I've never done this before? Do you know we drop stuff? I mean, so there was this level of lack of confidence, even from the first moment of I'm going to mess this up. And there's this fear, there's this insecurity that I think both of us had. I know we both stared at my son all night because we were worried he wasn't going to breathe or if something was going to happen, and I think that, even if it's not to that level, it does subside a bit, but there's this worry, this something that just, you're always thinking about, well, what happens if my child does this? Right. What's going to happen when they do this? Or when they go to school for the first time? Or what about this? And, I don't consider myself a helicopter parent, right. but I know there's this negative, worrisome self-talk that is constantly in my head about, am I doing this thing right?
Or what happens if I say something to ruin my child? I think that's one of the big ones. What if I say or do something that ruins my child? So in what you shared, so self-esteem has been a huge topic for me, and it's more personal, more than anything else. But I've been privileged to now understand self-esteem, and I'm passionate about sharing it with the students that I work with. And so we talk about self-esteem. and working with teachers, I have now coined the phrase professional self-esteem. And the concept applies across the board. And so you mentioned self-esteem for parents. And so I would talk about it from the perspective as well, from the topic of parent self-esteem. What am I thinking, saying, and doing to make me feel good about my role as a parent? And I literally saw, transitioning into this week as we're preparing for Parent Chronicles 2, a brief comment on TV. It was a joke. It was meant to be a joke, but in essence, it was saying, so let me get this straight. You're going to judge how you feel about who you are as a parent based on the reaction of your teenager.
Wow.
And when you really think about that statement, understanding teens to be the way that they are as teens, not all teens are the same. If we do try to determine how effective or good we are as a parent based on our child's reaction, our self-esteem is going to be going up and down a lot.
Now I'm going to go back though. You said three things. What am I thinking? What are those? You gave three questions. What are those again?
What am I thinking? What am I saying? And what am I doing to make me feel good as a parent?
Okay. Because what your statement does is it puts the intention on me to say, what am I personally doing? And I'm not sure as a parent I've ever said to myself, what am I doing kind to reinforce or assure myself of my own capability of what I'm doing as parent. And so you're right, many parents, they look at, oh, did the child get upset with me when I disciplined them? Or did the teenager not respond a certain way? And they tell me, did they say, oh, I hate you? Those types of statements. Am I evaluating my parenting based on how my child responds? And if so, that's not the way to go.
Right. Because if we're being honest, this is not water cooler talk. This is more like therapy talk, when you're sitting with your counselor. And I'm not ashamed to admit I've had moments as a parent where I've questioned whether what I'm doing or not doing long term is beneficial to my children. Oh my gosh, did that argument, is that going to ruin our relationship now?
Right.
Or, I'm concerned about my child, and clearly they're thinking or doing something that's not helping them go in the right direction. If I say this thing I know they need to hear, is that going to cause them to no longer listen to me? These are the realities of being a parent. And, I've been fortunate in my lifetime. I have not been perfect. And I've had some devastating moments. I've talked to my daughter and my son about, not being with them and how that was truly devastating to me. I actually got advice from a former student when I was going through the transition, and she shared with me how she coped and dealt with the reality of her relationship with her father that actually helped me hang on for a number of years. Just in my role as a parent, no longer being physically present with them. And I've now seen the benefit of what that former student said. So it hasn't all been easy, but the whole parent self-esteem concept comes out of the reality of my own experiences and just being a parent.
In Cortland, since we've gone back and have done parenting workshops together and things like that, one of the comments that I think you'll probably remember is when you had dad, and I'm going to say dads just because it was usually dads, being the non-custodial parent, who would say things like, well, I try to talk to my children, but they don't want to talk to me. So if they don't call me, I'm not going to call them. And I remember responding to a father once before and saying, look, you're the adult in the relationship. At all times, you are the adult in the relationship. And I know, sometimes it can be challenging, but I think that too speaks to that self-esteem issue, because on some level, as adult to adult, I'm going to give you the same level of communication as you give me. Okay. But if I am a parent and you're as a child, this is not an equal level relationship. Even if the child is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, if I'm the adult, because I'm the adult in the relationship, there's certain things that I still should be expected to do. And I think on some level, we have to build that confidence up that we are the parent, we are the adults. Are we going to be perfect? Absolutely not.
Right.
But, at any time, I'm going to take my years over, an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old, that I know that my goal is in the right place to do right by my children, and that we should try to be the example. So remember, we talked about do as I say, not as I do. Right. Here's the example of I want them to do as I do, not just as I say, but I want them to do as I do.
And I'm listening to you, and I can definitely feel confident in saying, had I not invested on the early end of taking them out to eat and prioritizing communication, I question whether I would have received that text from my daughter, hey, what are you doing in a few weeks so we can get together and go out? So as you're stating, the modeling of what it is that you want to see happen. And I will say, on behalf of my children, they both have come forward to share things that could have easily gotten them in trouble. So I definitely have seen the value of not just talking about open lines of communication, but creating the environment. And neither does that guarantee that your children will actually come forward and talk.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I can't expect it if I'm not in any way cultivating it. So I think when you mentioned talking about doing parent workshops together, I firmly believe our time working together with the National Family Resiliency Center helped kind of facilitate who I became as a parent, along with working with teenagers for so long. Right. By the time my kids were born, I kind of, I'm going to be honest, I kind of felt like, okay, you're never ready for dealing with teenagers.
Oh, yeah, no. You're never ready.
Never ready.
But then they give you some insight to be able to say, because many of them, I know you would say, they felt like they couldn't talk to their parents, or that their parents are going to be so judgmental about what I have to say. They want to be able to just share what they were thinking without worrying about getting in trouble. And so I think that gives us the insight. Now, of course, there may be times where we have to step in. We are still the parent. It's not about just rubber stamping everything our children do, but still knowing that they can come to us. And I want my children to feel that if there's something that's on their heart, that they can come to me, and that I'm going to listen to them. That I can't promise that I'm not going to have any emotion at all. Right. I can't promise that, but I don't want you to regret saying, you know what, Mama, I need to talk to you. I don't want them to regret or second think the fact that they can do that.
Yeah. So, in support of what you're saying, one thing that does come to my mind, this parent self-esteem. So I think about what matters to me. So I wasn't privileged to grow up with my children, or my children to grow up with me, being in the same home. So I had to really focus on what mattered most. Mm-hmm. I had to think about what topics of conversation I was going to have with them, because I had time to plan. I didn't see them every day. Mm-hmm. And so just to give people a window into what I'm talking about, I literally said to my daughter, I don't see you every day. So the emotion associated with what we're talking about, it's not going to be there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean I don't feel concern for the things that you're addressing or we're addressing, but I'm not having to address that on top of the fact you're currently not doing your homework, or you're talking back to your mom or whatever. All I'm dealing with is what we're talking about. So I don't have that level of emotion associated with everything else that's going on. And I really believe those types of conversations with your children are as important as the topic itself.
And I'm glad you said that, because, sometimes that can even cause a little bit of resentment from the other parent. If there's a parent who's the more custodial parent, who's like, I'm the one who's dealing with the majority of the things. And then, we used to call it, someone who was the Disneyland parent,
Right.
because every other weekend you get to have the children and just have fun, where the other parent feels like the custodial parent